Okay, Oscar fans, we are here with the great Jeff Wells of Hollywood Elsewhere, and we're here with the voice of Michael Musto from New Next, and I'm Tom O'Neill of Gold Derby, and let's just kick this off. I'll pass off to you, Michael. Apologies to people watching the video version of this. Michael's having camera trouble, but we can hear him, and that's the important part. Michael, what the fuck is out front for Best Picture? I'm confused.
Tom, I never thought I'd say this. I think it's going to be Roma. The reason I didn't think it was going to be Roma is because foreign films generally do not win Best Picture. Yes, the artist. Oh yeah, Tom, the artist won, but the artist was silent. Remember that? It also was set in Hollywood. Remember that? This is set in Mexico, but rules are meant to be broken, as we learn year after year. Green Book, I loved. I saw it 3 times, but there are problems with it. And the Oscars now like quirky films. They don't like old-fashioned films to win Best Picture. The Favorite doesn't have enough momentum. And despite all of you fanciful people on Gold Derby, Star is Born was never going to be the Best Picture.
We have a lot of fans,
to win every category, even animated. Where do you get that from? I'm going with Roma. Roma was the best movie of the year, and it'll be nice to actually have the best movie win Best Picture, don't you think?
Well, that would be fascinating. I would be totally.
What happened last year with Shape of Water?
Something different.
Jeffrey, yeah. This weekend, you know, I by the way, right now I do agree with Michael about Roma. That is my current prediction. However, this weekend we have the PGA Awards coming out, and I think they've only been wrong twice in a billion years. So that all of a sudden we may get a different set of tea leaves this weekend. You know, we're reacting to the recent Critics' Choice win. But Jeffrey, where do you stand?
I think the PGA was wrong in the last 3 or 4 years. Didn't they go for? I mean, I know they went for Shape of Water, but did they? I don't think they went for Spotlight, did they?
No, they didn't. You're right.
And I think the year after that or something. I think that basically there's nothing that people can indict Roma for. It's obviously a superior art film. It doesn't have a lot of momentum, narratively speaking, for the first 20, 30 minutes, and that has been a problem with some people. And but I would still say it's really obviously the best film quality-wise, and every other film except for The Favorite has problems, issues. And right now, I would say that I agree with Michael that The Favorite doesn't have any kind of real momentum. So really, it defaults to Roma, and of course, Cuarón has been winning all along. I'd be hugely surprised if he does not win this Saturday from the PGA, and I think it's over at that point.
But it can change. This is a horse race, Michael. Let's just take a scenario like this. Where would you stand with your Best Picture prediction, Michael, if Spike Lee were to win DGA?
That would change a lot of stuff, and this is a commentary on racism, not racist in itself. The fact that there are 3 incredible African-American films, in addition to Green Book, which deals with racial issues, people, the white voters, which predominate, unfortunately, I feel they get confused by, all these black movies, so they vote for something else. Am I wrong there?
Black Panther, Black Klansman, okay.
Field Street, yeah. Remember when Diana Ross and Cicely Tyson were both nominated for actress back then? They never nominated any African Americans for anything. It confused the white people. It really did.
But there was about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks ago, people that I knew in my circle were starting to say, I'm starting to think that maybe the most positive vibes are coming from Black Panther. People would feel really good about themselves if that were to make it. I wouldn't have a fundamental problem with it. It'd be pretty interesting.
And I think it'll be the movie that wins.
Obviously, there's no indications of that.
I think Black Panther will be the film that wins the most Oscars because of the technical things and visual things. So, yeah, it would not be that surprising if it won Best Picture as well. I just think Roma is such a towering work of art. It's not a Marvel Comics movie. It's a beautiful film, and it's a rebuke against Donald Trump wanting to build a wall against Mexican rapists that don't exist. This is about a beautiful, wonderful, beloved Mexican woman and the impact she has on so many people.
Yes.
A vote for this is a vote against Trump. But you could say that about all the Best Picture nominees, let's face it.
All right. So what is everybody's number 2 vote? You know, we have a ranked system for Best Picture. It's the only category at the Oscars where they do the weighted ballot, and a lot of us Oscarologists, theorists, suppose that it's been a big factor in the past few years, especially causing the split between picture and director. Right. So the idea goes like this. You know that La La Land was so divisive that it was either your number 1 vote or your number 6 or 7. And then Moonlight was everybody's number 2 if it wasn't their number 1, and that's how it won. Play that scenario out with I think the reason I'm picking Roma right now, and the reason I switched last night, was because I think it is people's number 2 vote if it's not their number 1. And I think that factor is more important in many ways at the Oscars and the Best Picture race, handicapping than anything. What do you guys think? Somebody pile on.
My fear about Roma is that people that watch the screener might not realize the first hour is her basically scrubbing the kitchen sink and waking up the kids. And it's beautifully constructed and composed, but you have to stick with it because the second half has 3 of the most incredible sequences I've ever seen in a film. However, I don't think anyone is ripping the CD out of their machine. Halfway through, the people that I have heard from are blown away by Roma. And look, Tom, they don't give Best Picture to foreign films. They didn't give it to Grand Illusions, the Emigrants, Cries of Whisper, you know. But this is different. This is at a perfect time. It's a towering work of art. It's better than the other movies.
And I remember the year of Crouching Tiger that Roger Ebert had predicted it to win Best Picture, and I thought, you know, that could really happen. It's surprising it hasn't happened so far.
Do you think that if it had not been for the 2 negative hits that Green Book sustained a few days ago, would it be the second place? Because I know a lot of people, you know, deep in their hearts, really love that film. It's a really pleasing, well-made, not a very complex, not a very challenging, but it's a very beloved film. I don't think it's going to get there, though, because I think that the tweet, I don't think people care that much about Peter Farrelly, but I think that the tweet by Nick Vallelonga is a problem, and then it'll probably get in the way.
And it's a special problem in a movie against racism that basically Tony Lip's real life son, who worked on the screenplay, tweeted in agreement with Trump's total fabrication that he saw Muslims dancing a jig and celebrating on 9/11. That was really bizarre to learn. Peter Farrelly also used to flash his penis on movie sets. I guess they needed the cum for Cameron Diaz's hair. Oh my God. I apologize.
Very unfortunate.
My issue with
these are 2 bad things. But you know what, Tom? So many of these movies have scandals like that. Look at Bohemian Rhapsody. I think they all kind of even out in the voters' minds. Is there a movie without scandal? Yeah, Roma.
And the favorite has no blemishes.
True.
Right? Nothing has happened nobody's brought anything up. But let's just remind ourselves while we're saying that Green Book will probably not make it, is that it was definitely a hit job. Somebody decided we're going to get this film one way or another. It took them 2 days of research, and they got it.
Maybe Harvey Weinstein's still working.
That mentality is out there, that's for sure. I mean, there's no question about it. I think the wokesters did this because they really, really don't want to see that movie prevail because they.
I think that the problem with the backlash on Green Book is that it's much more than these 2 incidences that you're pointing out. There's been issues with this for about a month or a month and a half, and if it smacks of conspiracy, it's because there's constantly complaints dogged against this movie that really have to do with the movie, and so or actually some of it does, I guess, if you accept Don Shirley's brother's complaints of the historic accuracy, the 100% accuracy of his character. I just think that it commits a sin, as does Bohemian Rhapsody, that the blogosphere simply will not forgive, and it's the fact that it's so blatantly sentimental. I think people were just hating on the movie because it's so schmaltzy. That's just my theory.
It's not sentimental, really. It's really it's a solemn, in a way, very incremental growth movie. I don't see the pronounced sentiment except at the very end when it's Merry Christmas and thank you for helping him write the letters. But other than that, it's not a very complex thing. Again, it's not very psychologically layered, but it's a pretty likable film. There's no negative about it if you're just taking the film as it is. Unfortunately, it's been hit so many times that I've lost faith.
All right, Best Actress. Where do we stand now? We had a tie with Gaga and with Glenn Close at the Critics' Choice Awards. Where does that leave us?
Tom, anybody with any memory, which I have, remembers that Judy Garland was supposed to win A Star Is Born, and she did it. She was laying in her hospital bed giving birth to Joey Luft, and basically the camera crew pulled out the plug, said, "You lost. Goodbye later." Thank you, next. And the Academy has never gotten over the guilt over that.
Yeah,
are you really now going to give it to Lady Gaga?
64 years later.
Admittedly, Gaga has done something closer to the Streisand movie, but good. And Streisand did win for her first film, but it was a tie, and Barbara voted for herself, just like she voted for Hepburn. I can't imagine Gaga winning. She's playing a character close to herself. The nomination will be the award. She has a bright future. The award will go to Glenn Close. This is one of those Julianne Moore things where we've never given you the Oscar. You have the perfect chance. And here's a spoiler alert about the movie The Wife. If you haven't seen The Wife, mute me for like 5 seconds. The movie is about how Glenn's character deserves an award and someone else got it.
Right.
Oh, that's a wonderful insight. I love that. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And in her Golden Globe speech, which was brilliant, and she was totally shocked. It was real human emotion after 2 hours of torturous boredom.
Yeah.
She actually gave this great idea where she now represents all of these women who have had to stand in a man's shadow when they deserve the spotlight. And that's a wonderful thing to stand for because she's trying to change that.
And speaking of speeches, the Lady Gaga speech at the Critics' Choice Award last weekend, I think she's been overplaying the shocked beyond, the melting down, talking about her dying horse. I think she's been overdoing that, and I think people don't want to really. These are auditions for getting. I don't think people like the idea of her blatant emoting when she has won.
She's gotten a little grand too soon.
So.
Gaga can still win SAG, and that predicts the Oscars more than the Golden Globe does, of course. But there's still a path here for Gaga to win. I'm with you that I think Glenn Close will do it. I think the problem is the movie itself. I think she's playing Glenn Close. They really like you to body a completely different character if they're gonna give you the Oscar. And also, quite frankly, not much happens that first hour. There's not much. All the emotional theatrics happen in the second half if you're in there.
But that's part of the genius of her part of the genius of her performance is the first half is a lot of reacting and listening and simmering, and then she explodes. It's very Oscar. And guys, let's not forget that some of these other awards don't owe Glenn Close an award. The Golden Globes didn't owe it to her, but they gave it to her anyway. The Oscars owe it to her. That's the difference with all the other awards.
Well put. I agree.
I agree too. All right, Best Actor, Jeffrey. Who wins that?
It's funny. You stopped me cold. I really don't have a clear idea on it.
Christian Bale, Rami Malek.
I was going to say Bale because of the last two wins. I don't think. I somehow feel that the Malek thing was a brief Golden Globe thing, and I don't think we'll go beyond that. So I guess I'll go with Bale, but I can't think of a strong reason to say anybody else at this point. Bale seems to have it because it's such a complete, mesmerizing transformation, physically and otherwise.
I think the two best were Malek, who totally, despite the problems with the movie, embodied Freddie Mercury's awkwardness, his bravado, and his onstage posturing brilliantly, and Viggo Mortensen, who really captured a racist character who evolved and did it in subtle stroke. It's not a sledgehammer at all. And he was owed an Oscar as well. Christian Bale was terrific. He won an Oscar once for losing weight. He can now win one for gaining weight. But you know what? It's kind of a one-note performance because Dick Cheney is inscrutable. That's the whole point of the movie. And Christian Bale talks in a whisper, even when he's having a freaking heart attack. I think I should go to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's not till the end, which I won't give away, that he shows a flash of some anger or something that makes him more human. I would rather see Rami or Vigo win. However, whoever wins the SAG is going to win, and I'm going to wait and see who they pick. And 13 out of the last 14 times, that's who's won the Oscar.
Right, and I think
just told us this weekend. When is SAG? I've forgotten.
Did it happen already?
I know it's about 2 weeks away. All right, let's go into those tricky supporting races. Like Regina King certainly came through luminously at Critics' Choice and the Globes. However, she's not nominated at SAG or at BAFTA. And that was the Sly Stallone problem. Remember, where idiots like me were saying, "Oh, Stallone's going to win the Oscar," but he was not nominated at either SAG or BAFTA. And we learned a lesson there. How much of a problem is this for Regina King?
I thought it was a complete problem for her because I kept hearing over and over again that despite her role not being all that if Beale Street Could Talk, despite her role not being all that dynamic, all that interesting, she has one or two big scenes, but no real killer scene. So I kept hearing that she's so well liked, everybody loves her, they're going to vote for her, and it didn't happen at SAG. So that kind of surprised me. I don't know what to think about. Critics' Choice. I just don't know where she's at.
That's a nom-com. That's like 2,200 people.
Yeah.
In all the 150,000 people.
But they're allegedly reflective of the mainstream sentiments of the Academy. Statistically, that's
allegedly.
I think Regina's got it because her main competition is going to be Amy Adams for Vice, who was terrific. She played like a Lady Macbeth, like Lynn Cheney. But they're not going to do 2 makeup awards in one night for actresses. Glenn Close and Amy Adams. It would be 2 opportunities. You had 6 or 7 nominations. You're owed one. They're not going to do that twice. They don't like to even do that at all anymore. They're not sentimental like they used to be. They'll throw you to the curb if they feel like it. But I really feel it's a lock for Glenn, and I think it's a lock for Regina as well.
Regina King, let's remind people who aren't award geeks like us that she's won 3 out of the 4 races at the Emmys, and they were almost all upsets. The only thing she lost was to Nicole Kidman in that HBO miniseries that we knew she would win for. But so Regina King there's this industry love for her as an artist that I think will carry the day at the Oscars too.
Not to mention at the Golden Globes, she said she wants to hire 50% women on every project she does. That's going to help her as well. Just like Glenn Close's amazing Golden Globe speech is award worthy in itself.
I agree.
It was spectacular.
So
Mahershala Ali, despite all the problems of Green Book, he won. He's winning everything. So what happens with him?
He wins. I can't see anything else happening.
He wins for that great moment.
How is he bulletproof when the movie takes a hit? It's his.
Well, he didn't write it.
If anything, he's the victim, or his profile was enhanced by the Nick Vallelonga tweet because it was anti-Muslim and Mahershala. He has a sympathy vote, if anything, from that. So I think he's even stronger after that tweet.
He wins for the scene, Tom. He wins for the scene where he runs out of the car and has to explain to Vigo, I don't fit in with your people. I don't fit in with my people. Where does that place me? He delivers that killer. I mean, home run. And the whole performance has so much dignity. I also like Richard E. Grant. By the way, here's another spoiler alert. Both of those characters are gay. Right? A lot of gay victims.
Yeah.
A lot of gay victims and gay psychos. We haven't come that much farther than the 1960s.
I feel sort of sorry because I love Richard E. Grant's performance so much in that film. I'm really in love with the whole film. I'm in love with Melissa, everybody. But it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And I feel badly about that because I really love the way Richard Grant has seemed, just newly energized by all this attention he's gotten. And he's really a great guy to hang with and feed on.
He plays a down-and-out gay grifter who is full of joie de vivre. He makes this skanky character likable.
Yep.
It's really a feat.
Even after becoming the cat killer.
Oh, don't give it away.
Okay. Right.
Well, we were wrong. We experts about Richard E. Grant at the Critics' Choice Award. We predicted he would win. The majority of the experts. I don't remember where all of our 3 predictions were. The thing is that we have the top 24 people at Gold Derby who have the best scores last year when predicting an event and advance forward to challenge us as experts, as a team, as a league at Gold Derby. And they Critics' Choice. They went with Mahershala and we went with Richard E. Grant. So wouldn't it be ironic if we're wrong now if it flips and all of a sudden Richard D. Grant wins at the Oscars and we don't see it coming? I think there's a chance that Grant can win the SAG award. I think that could happen. I still think Mahershala wins. I agree with you guys. But I think that there are still some tea leaves out there that we have not yet seen that can change a lot of these kind of confident opinions we're expressing here, which we shouldn't be so confident in because this is the Oscars, you guys. They're crazy.
Do you have any doubt about Cuarón winning for Best Director? I
think if Spike Lee wins DGA, I think we have a very different race for director at the Oscars. Yeah, and remember, he's never the wild card of Spike Lee is so fascinating as an awards element because he's never been nominated for DGA in that race. He's never been nominated at the Oscars for director. He did get a screenplay nomination 500 years ago, but it's unique to have Spike Lee on an awards ballot. It's special. And he's a veteran with status, and it's a movie that's important and very well done, especially the end of it when he brings it all home.
The end is perfect. Without that ending, it would just be a very efficient, likable, approvable paper film. It's not really Best Picture material.
And he's been campaigning everywhere. There are events for Spike on both coasts constantly, and he's really been doing the legwork. He's at these events, pumping hands. Normally Spike has this reputation for being a little, withdrawn and grumbly and all that. But boy, he's everybody's best friend this season. He's doing it.
But when you've never been nominated and then you do get nominated, which I'm sure he will, that's kind of your award. It's it's your first nomination. You finally got it. As far as Mahershala, they might not want to give him a second one if they're going to give Christian Bale a second one. I don't know if they think that way, but it's not always about rewarding. However, in competing categories, oftentimes look at Christoph Waltz. They don't mind saying, "Oh, here's another one. We're doing something similar."
It's like Sally Field said: when they like you, they really, really like you, and you have a honeymoon period at the Oscars of Hilary Swank had it, Sean Penn. I mean, there's a Jason Robards won 2 years in a row in those supporting categories.
Yes.
That they really, really like us thing is real, and I think Mahershala could benefit from it. So could Bale, yeah.
Walter Brennan won 3. I really have a memory.
Not enough in my book. Right?
I still think Cuarón is a lock to win Best Director. That's obviously the most directed film of the year and the best directed film of the year, and it's his year.
Yep. I don't think there's any question about that.
I'm sure he'll win the DGA, and then Best Picture. Here we come.
Yep.
All right, screenplay. I don't even have the list in front of me. What do you guys think about those two races?
I don't have the list in front of me either.
I'll pull it up while we chit chat.
I think it's a chance for Green Book to get something in addition to Mahershala's award.
But Vallelonga is one of the screenwriters.
And I think Favorite has a very good chance.
Yeah, I would think the Favorite, but
do you think First Reformed is getting a nomination?
It's really devastating to consider that it might not. I just don't understand how there couldn't at least be a nomination for Schrader after all these of never being nominated for anything. Why, if there's this big emotional outpouring for Spike, why not for Schrader? It's just because A24 is not aggressive enough.
No, it's not that they're not aggressive enough.
Everything.
It's the fact that, and Michael, you know this is better than anyone because you're in New York. A24's problem is that it's in New York. Boyhood's problem a few years ago was its IFC films. It's in New York. I mean, it lost a Birdman picture. There is a really interesting phenomenon this year and a consistent strength that First Reform has shown in the East Coast-based awards, like the Gotham Awards, for example. It's I think National Board of Review. These it's done very well at. But First Reform's had trouble getting to the left coast and the awards out here. And I think this is a geographic issue largely. That's just my theory.
And it's an extremely edgy screenplay, let's face it.
Oh, yeah.
It's really out there.
So the nominees, at least the ones we predict for adapted screenplay, let's do this before we wrap up here, which is Beale Street. We have it #1 for adapted screenplay. Black Klansman, Can You Ever Forgive Me, Star Is Born, and First Man.
It should be Can You Ever Forgive Me. It's a very, very well written Nicole Holofcener and the guy,
Jeff Whitty.
Really, really superb. It should be. I mean, apparently it's not going to. She's not going to get director. Melissa's certainly going to be nominated for Best Actress, but I guess it's not going to go beyond that. So it should be, I believe. I really strongly feel. I've seen that film 4 times now.
Wow.
But that's where Black Klansman could actually get something. It actually has a chance to win that.
Okay. Well,
I think that is the winner.
You think Black Klansman?
Yeah.
Tom's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone. At least in my screen. You keep disappearing, Tom.
Oh, do I? Okay. And best original screenplay. The favorites out front with the experts at Gold Derby now. Then Roma, Green Book, and First Reform. Those are the 5 original. What do you guys think?
I think the favorite or Green Book. Favorite, I think, is going to win costumes, so it's not going to go home empty-handed.
Yeah.
They could also win production design.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excellent screenplay. Very perverse power play is going on there. Green Book, beautifully done. A road movie and a buddy movie.
Yeah.
Done in subtle strokes, I thought. A lot of people found it too safe. Is there a Writers Guild coming up? Award?
Yeah, the Writers Guild, but all of these movies, aren't, a lot of them aren't eligible.
Favorite isn't eligible. Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think?
Original screenplay. 19 of our experts say the favorite, and then the number 2 film is the favorite with, our Roma with 6 votes.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Hey, by the way, Tom, may I ask something? Considering the favorite, you believe that both Rachel and Emma Stone are going to be nominated in the Best Supporting Actress category?
Yeah. And I thought for a while that Rachel could actually win, but she hasn't popped through anywhere yet. So
neither of them have really made a great effort. I haven't sensed that there's any real momentum for either of them. Why do you feel they're necessarily going to at least be nominated, which is, you seem to be pretty strong on that?
Oh, yeah, because the movie is so performance heavy and so impressive with those 3 performances.
Just promote.
Can we go back to Best Actress for 1 second, because I'm kind of getting obsessed with who the 5th nominee is. Now, we know the locks are Glenn Close, Lady Gaga, Olivia Colman, and Melissa McCarthy, correct?
Right.
Yep.
I have finally changed from Emily Blunt for Mary Poppins Returns to Yalitza Aparicio for Roma. Who do you have for your 5th?
I'm holding on to Emily. What do you say, Jeff?
But Yalitza Aparicio is a very passive performance that she gives. I really don't think it's much of a performance. I know that she inhabits the character. You believe that she is Cleo, the saintly maid, but I don't think she does very much with what she's given to. She doesn't deliver much. She's just not a skilled actress. She's never, she's not an actress at all, really. And why people are talking about her being a Best Actress contender eludes me. I'm sorry.
She's no conventional
lead role in a movie that we believe is going to win Best Picture. That's why.
She's no conventional.
Well, if you study, the last time I watched it, I was studying everything that she emotes in the various scenes, and she just does as little as possible, probably because Alfonso told her, don't act, just be yourself, just calm down, turn it down, and the role itself will carry you through. And that's probably the smartest thing he could have said to her, because she's not a skilled actress again. But I just don't think it works. It's just it's wallpaper almost.
Well, I feel they have to put someone, and I was going with Emily. I loved Mary Poppins Returns, but it's really a love-hate. It's a love-hate movie. It divides people. I did not like Destroyer. She might get points for bravery for jerking off a paraplegic, but other than that, I don't think that's a nomination. Saoirse Ronan, no. Who else was in the movie?
Viola Davis, Toni Collette.
I loved Rosamund Pike. Yeah, I like Toni Collette, but the movie was absurd, and I liked Rosamund Pike, but nobody seems to care. And that leaves us with Yalitza.
It's precisely the craziness, the absurdity of Hereditary at the very end is why I think it's so impressive, because it completely leaves the planet Earth. And I think that's what I thought was really genius about it, actually.
Let's go back to Olivia Colman. She was leading Best Actress predictions not so long ago at Gold Derby, and we've just ditched the poor dame. Why?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were surprised when she was pushed for lead because it's an ensemble. The three women are equal. Some people feel it's Emma Stone's narrative, really.
It is. Emma and Rachel are the leads, really. And I think we have to be honest about this. They decided to game the system with Olivia because they wanted to bump her up in the eyes of the industry as a lead actress. So they came to an arrangement that she was going to be the lead actress contender from The Favorite. And they accomplished what they wanted to do, but I think it was a case of gaming the system. No offense.
But she does brilliant.
Nobody's a bigger fan of Olivia Colman than myself. Remember that I actually raised money so that people could see extra screenings of Tyrannosaur in Los Angeles. Remember that?
Yes, I did.
And I actually, so I mean, I worship her, but she's not playing a lead. Sorry.
And she has
either did Nicole Kidman in The Hours. It was a triumvirate of actresses, and she had the least screen time, least dialogue, and Nicole Kidman ended up winning. Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Sometimes. Yeah. What did Denzel Washington say when he announced Nicole Kidman had won for that role? By a nose.
Oh, did he? Well, yeah. Denzel had less screen time and less dialogue than Ethan Hawke in Training Day, and he ended up winning Best Actor over Ethan Hawke. I've asked Ethan Hawke about that, and he goes, "Oh, it's okay. I'm not going to rock the boat."
I so wish that Spike Lee had been nominated and won for Malcolm X. That was the masterpiece that I think he should have won for. You don't feel any strong afterglow for Malcolm X?
He believes that too, by the way. When you ask him, I was at a Q&A where he was asked that question.
Okay.
Right, final thoughts, Michael. No host at the Oscars. What do you have to say, or would you volunteer to host? I would love to see that.
I think they're hoping for someone a little better known internationally than me, but I'm definitely available. I think it's an act of cowardice and just a lack of imagination that they couldn't come up with anyone. They couldn't come up with anyone. Come on, Tom. I know a lot of people don't even want the job. It doesn't pay, and it's potential career suicide. But they could have found someone who is not racist or homophobic.
Bill Hader.
Well, maybe no, I love Bill Hader. I love Bill Hader.
And he's a real cinephile. He knows, everything about movies. He would have been great.
Well, I said, how about the character Crazy Rich Asians?
Yeah, okay.
I would have loved that too. But I think that just hating on the Oscar host is a national pastime now that cannot be avoided. It's like, hate watching TV is a social experience. Look, I think Seth MacFarlane, Neil Patrick Harris did wonderful jobs hosting. They got crucified over just a couple of little incidents. People were upset Neil Patrick Harris took a magic trick too far. And Seth MacFarlane sang that song about boobies. Oh, how terrible. Come on. It's just, we're unfair. In the gang mentality, the lynch mob that forms to take you down if you take that job is terrifying. I don't blame anybody for not doing it.
I don't know why the Green Book people didn't say at the very beginning of the campaign after Toronto, everybody take their Twitter histories and wipe them out. That's all they had to do. In fact, I would say anybody that just eliminate everything and start over fresh and be very careful.
Well, there's something called screenshots,
Once they're onto something that you said or did, yes, but if you do it preemptively, I would imagine. Anyway.
Well, I would go with a hologram of Bob Hope at this point.
Yeah, I like that idea.
It's better than what they have.
That said, it's our job, Michael and Jeffrey and I, to give you the best performance by a pundit who think they know what they're doing, but you guys have the power at home to make your predictions at Gold Derby and prove that you know better than we. And you know what? I think some of you do. So I dare you to go make your predictions at Gold Derby now. You can update all the way until early Tuesday morning when the nominations come out. Thanks for watching.